everyone, and welcome. Today we'll be taking a look at a couple of viewer-submitted matches of StarCraft 2. For our first game of the day, we find ourselves on the map Hecate. The blue Zerg here, spawning into the upper right corner. It is going to be Catcher. Catch her? No, Catcher. To keep it simple. And the red Protoss here warping into the bottom left corner with a very questionably placed first pylon. It is Shadow Will from Dankcraft. Oh, who knows what's in store today. PVZ on the map Hecate with a double gas opener and a drone. You're fighting with drones? Intriguing choice. Monsieur Catcher here. Questionable decisions abound from both of these individuals, it would seem. Doesn't appear to be for a proxy hatchery. Perhaps Shadow Will was playing random, wanted to get a very quick scout. Perhaps Shadow Will is guilty of the most heinous crime of all, being Protoss. Perhaps Catcher's been hurt before, damaged by the robotic fiends that make up, I would say, a third of the factions, but I think we all know there's probably a little bit more than 33% of the player base playing Protoss. Still nothing. I think it's just a scout. I'm going to move away from this now. A fun fact for all of you lovely viewers. Both of the games today, both of the games on the menu today were submissions for October's Viewer Challenge. Yes. If you do not recall the challenge from October, I will undoubtedly put an image up here somewhere. Alarak. Get it done. What am I paying you for?
Orders from you.
So, with that in mind, we might see some very intriguing unit choices on the menu today. The individual in charge of selecting my replays said, I know these were submissions for last month's viewer challenge, a little bit old at this point, but trust me, solid games. Things are looking good. Seeing quite a slew of buildings coming out from the Protoss, who has thus far built only probes. Little greedy. Luckily, not... Oh, well, actually, I have to take it back. I was gonna say not a lot of Zerglings coming out, but there's 6, 8 on the map, 10 more on the way with a Baneling nest. And a third base? You just want your cake and eat it too? Oof. The Zerglings mercifully sparing the probe that was floating right on by them. Probe still, it's an endangered species. Okay, probes, they haven't been doing that well in nature, so the Zerglings are being very polite, very kind. I assume Catcher here is waiting for this Bane nest. Oh dear, what are you doing? Banelings going to be morphed in. This is not quite a Baneling bust, because, you know, there's no wall. There's a battery, though. I like the choice of the battery. There's a Void Ray somewhere. Oh, the Banelings, though, gonna start to waddle towards the mineral line. A reaction from the Protoss. The probes quickly evacuated. 2 of them holding the line by the battery. Some are gonna be killed off on the right side, but there's only one Baneling here. It was actually some really solid probe micro. The battery putting in work, keeping the shields up. The Void Ray overhead should be able to clean up all of the Zerglings. The battery's running out of energy, though. Oh, some probes gonna start to die off. I saw at least 2 in there. Show me the total, 10. A decent amount died to the Banes on the right side, it seems. So Shadow Will definitely taking some damage while going for a very ambitious proxy. Yes. Proxy gateway next to the third as it was morphing. Double void ray moving across the map actually, and that is it. The lings, just 4 lings, terrified at the sight of a probe. The void rays charging up to deal some extra damage against that armored hatchery. Of course, the gateway left standing. That's where the probe's going. The probe is meant to build a pylon here. The void rays should absolutely clear this out. I see DT blink on the way, which is an intriguing choice here. The probes, once again, holding the line with the aid of a Dark Templar. The lings look like they're on a move command, though, which is a little less than ideal, less than stellar. I see a Spire on the way at 23 drones. I'm going to call that a very ambitious tech choice. Spore crawlers galore. Now, Catcher here is guilty of perhaps one of the worst Zerg crimes, and he's feeling it right now, and that's not enough queens. The void rays, you get that, Overlord. DT's still able to connect to the queens. There's just not enough here. Is this how the Zerg dies? Well, the focused attack is going to make the one of the void rays go down. A couple of the queens, some panic Zerglings come out. There's no more detection, though. The Spore Crawler destroyed, which means the DTs... Oh, right in the Zerg. That hurts. The proxy gate coming in handy. Catcher should have destroyed everything when he went to destroy the proxy things. Spore Crawler on the low ground. DTs are being detected, and decent spot by the minerals, though. All of the attention is on the Zerg here. There's 2 Corruptors. 2. Yes, 2 Corruptors on the way. Spore Crawler destroyed. The Natchery is the next to fall, and things are not looking good for the blue Zerg. With a combination of Dark Templar and Void Rays. But Blink onto the Spore Crawler, quickly getting distracted and going after a few drones, though. Spore will be destroyed, and it looks like that's the last of the detection, which means the Dark Templar should reign supreme. Shadow Will is the victor, adhering to the October Challenge rules of building only Dark Templar and Void Rays for your combat units. Round of applause. Actually quite an entertaining match. I love the probe work at the start, though, trying to keep them away from the Banelings, the battery, the real hero, the real MVP there. Let's move on to the second match of the day. For the second match of the day, we find ourselves on Site Delta. The red Zerg spawning into the bottom right here. It is Orange Boy. And the Terran here landing into the upper left. The blue SCVs belonging to Gelinator. Gelinator versus Orange Boy. Somebody's gonna... I'm guessing the Terran here is gonna try and make jelly out of the Zerg. Orange jelly, of course. And Orange Boy perhaps hoping to just live long enough to ripen into Orange Man. I'm guessing that's the real campaign goal of the mission here. TVZ, gents, ladies, get excited. It's the classic, the original, probably the favorite matchup of many. As I said before, though, October Challenge rules are applying for at least one of these players. SCV out on the map, checking around, checking that hatch timing. The opener, of course, mostly normal, relatively fine, at least not scary. A spawning pool. No, do not pull a drone. It's just an SCV. Okay. Probes, you're allowed. I will forgive you. Probes are scary. Probes are terrifying. Perhaps even evil. We haven't quite had them tested. On the Terran side of the map. The natural CC, the Reaper, unsure of where to go after coming out of the barracks. The good old TVZ Reaper. How much damage will it get done? Very quick lair. 218 lair, oh my gosh. Reaper makes its way over to the main base. Not... Why over here? Huh? Ogelinator, I think you perhaps got distracted by maybe some honey over here, because the Reaper is checking around for proxy, or not proxy, hidden bases, I should call it, which is a choice. Marines heading into the bunker, going to bully the Overlord as it should get to the high ground. Hey, Ovi safe once again. Double Marine on the way. Gelinator's very concerned about hidden bases, it would seem. Mule dropped at the natural base, the bunker. You just dropped a mule. What are you doing? Really? I mean, I can't even be really that mad because of how much it supply blocked the Zerg. It was going for a quick Hydra den off of that lair. I'll let you guys do all the judgments in the comments and in your own thoughts. Double Evo on the high ground. Severe lack of a third hatchery, but it looks like Mr. Orange here trying to remedy that. Really? All the way up here. Okay. Well then, I guess this is why Gelinator perhaps checking for hidden bases, because maybe it's a common thing at whatever level this is. I think I was told it was platinum. I think this is a platinum match, and thus far, very platinum. I think I can safely say. The depot wall on the high ground, the Lurker den starting to show itself here. And the Reaper, at long last, makes its way to the main base. As I've checked everywhere but the main base. Queen trying to respond. I don't think that's an actual wall. Reapers, the Reaper, should say, going to get the full scout off the Hydras, trying to be hidden, trying to be sneaky as they morph into Lurkers at the 512 mark. Reaper was killed off, likely by one of the spines. No, not by a spine. The Queen got it. I doubted the Queen, and that was my mistake. I should have my Zerg card revoked, not trusting in the Great Queens. Defensive Cyclone, defensive 17, 18 Marines coming out. Did we get Stim? We did get Stim. If only there was another research that we might want to get from that tech lab that might help out the Marines, quite a bit. Maybe akin to some health insurance, maybe some armor. What do people call it? A defensive tool that you can put maybe on your arm, hold up in front of you when you're taking subterranean Lurker spines. I don't think a shield would really help you with that. Oh, my bad, I slipped the answer. Yeah, a shield, maybe as you're going into combat. That might be helpful, right? Terrans, I've had this conversation before. Neither player seems all that intent on really doing a lot of damage just yet. I think I'm safe to do a little speeding. This little speed up in the downtime here. Oh, Lord. Well then, immediately have to slow it down. That's my karma. It's a Lurker drop against a Terran who already has missile turrets in very intriguing places, though. 4 Lurkers going to drop out. One of them immediately picked off, though. Oh my gosh, the Lurkers. The Lurkers still absolutely shred that army. A stim with no combat shields makes quick work of the Marines. Total losses, 14 Marines and a Cyclone to trade off 4 Lurkers. Yeah, the numbers aren't in favor, but man, that hurts the Terran. And the psychological damage, we cannot underestimate the psychological damage. It's only 730, give or take. And the Terran just saw Lurkers dropped into their own main base. That's a bonus point from me. Good job. A bold move. Lurkers, once again, present for the defense here. Gelinator going to commit. Well, that's not going to be very good. The Lurker's going to burrow. A scan goes out. One of the Lurkers looks like it will be picked off, but that's not really good for the Marines. Will no one think of the Marines? SCV denied by some spine crawlers here. And Mutas on the way. Mutts going to show themselves. A spire was made. Upgrades on the way. Lurkers and Mutalisks. Yes, that's my fault. That's my doing. I'm liking how it's playing out so far, though. We have a Liberator freeing some rocks over the 3rd base location. I'm assuming that Gelinator here wants to set up a 3rd jelly-making factory over at this location. The other 2, they're running out of trees. The sap's just not flowing. I know sap doesn't really go into jelly. Jelly's a fruit thing, and sap makes syrup, I know, but it just kind of rolled off the tongue. We will see, though. There's 8 Mutas and 6 Lurkers. How will Orange Boy here use the powers of the Great Citrus to stop and halt the jelly-making operation of the Blue Terran? I kind of like the story that's being built here. Orange Boy, of course, the patron of the fruits, standing for the good of all fruit kind here. A combination of Lurkers and Mutas up against the mostly Marines. We're throwing in a few sprinkles, a few flavors of some other Terran units. Those are drones. We've got just a few flavors. We've got 2 tanks. We've got 1 Liberator, 1 Marauder. But I still think my greatest advice has to be, if you're going to make 40 plus Marines, you need to actually get combat shields. We'll see though. One thing the Gelinator is in no short supply of is missile turrets, which makes me a little nervous for all the Mutas. Yeah, flying over 4-ish missile turrets, not usually a healthy pick. The Muta's actually doing better than I expected them to. Orange Boy not throwing away all of the Mutas. A drop over on the right side. Gelinator stimming those Marines hard, hitting the stim packs. Not quite focused. Still will get the hatchery though. How are the upgrades? 1-0. Lurkers slowly trudging their way to give an angry stare to the bio. Quick pickup from Gelinator though. Gotta get those Lurkers out of there. Slap that hatchery down. Or not. Instead, we're gonna try and make a couple of spore crawlers to fend off Marines and Marauders. The Lurkers will burrow yet again. Oh, and the Mutas come back home. Which means that medevac as good as gone. the mutas will show their dominance, show their superiority. 14 drones on the way. Total kills were minimal. Gelinator's target was more so the hatchery. Missile turret, sensor tower combo. We know there's an individual in the missile turret who shoots, in charge of shooting the actual missiles. You just barely see him in there. Is there anybody in the sensor tower? I could envision there being somebody up in the sensor tower with binoculars, maybe? Yeah. Now you're thinking it. Upgrades definitely in favor of the Zerg player here. Lurkers. Lurkers against Marines is really, I think, quite good for the Zerg. The arc is pretty decent from the Terran, but I think it's still just going to be a bit too much. The Muta's even going to pitch in a bit of support here. Hydras, Lurker larva, about to be Lurkers, very good. Taking a couple shots at that planetary. One of them's going to be killed off, though. There's a Thor on the way, a lot more Marines with it. Both players not quite able to spend their banks. I'm loving the base setup, though, from Orange Boy. And you know what? Actually, there's one other thing I want to say. I'm really proud of this Zerg for. And I mean this non-sarcastically. Authentic compliment. Your creep spread is deplorable. Thank you. You're focusing on what matters. You're focusing on your economy, your production. Very good. Thank you for having bad creep spread. I see so many Zergs out here with creep spread halfway across the map and only one queen doing injects. So they don't have enough units to actually survive anything. The mutas come on back home, deal with this Terran force. A severe lack of Marines is going to mean a quick death for all of the Terran forces here. The heroic Marauder really trying to get some damage done against those drones. And on the other side of the map here, the Lurkers still reigning supreme on the low ground here. A Liberator might stop that. Well, yeah, maybe the mutas come over here. What are you doing? You didn't have to move, just have the mutas kill it. There you go. Marines. It looks like they are stemmed, which I'm gonna go with is not a good decision for them anymore. Not quite the healthy choice. The Thor on the high ground going to scare the mutas into flying away, which is about all it can do. There's only one Thor. And there's not really that many Marines here. Where are all the Marines? There's 38 on the map. Oh. They're all over here. Okay. Awkward. Jimmy, did you just see that? I think that Zerg creature just burrowed into the ground over there. Scan over here, confirming the Zerg forces have legs, have wings, capable of movement. Oh my lord, it's a surprise slaughter. Orange Boy getting some work done with the Lurker Muta combo. Our counts are looking pretty good, actually. Muta count, well, it's dwindling now, but the turrets are the focus, it seems. I don't like the clumping up against a Thor. Still looking pretty good, though. Terran player up against the ropes. What should the Terran be doing, apart from getting combat shields? You know, at this point, I wouldn't blame you for a full-blown mech transition. I'd love to see some, maybe Widow Mines sprinkled around, too. If the mutas are giving you trouble, you know, some Marines, some Thors, some Mines, Lurkers, Siege Tanks, Liberators, okay? I would say Ghosts. Yes, all the comments are going to be Ghosts, Ghost counter Lurkers. Yes, I know Ghost counter Lurkers. I don't think at this level, though. I don't think I'm going to recommend that. Liberator's actually going to set up shop over top of the Lurkers, which is really good for the Terran. The Muta's going to swing in, though the Terran ground forces are limited. Air Force is going to be destroyed. There's only 2 Lurkers left, but the Mutas are going to swing in, finish the job, and take the win for orange boy. The fruits prevail this day. There shall be no more jelly made this fine day. Entertaining matches from you both. I'm very proud, very excited to see that. Even after the challenge, people came and told me the contest rules, the challenge rules sounded fun. They wanted to try it. I encourage that. Thank you for the submissions. Thank you for playing. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.